She lied and kind of just pretty much took all his money.
It was a marriage scam.
She wasn't actually trans, she was just faking it.
Yeah.
There's very little that can be revealed about Loren at this stage that will actually surprise me. And learning he's been a victim of a marriage scam to a fake trans Filipino woman, believe it or not, isn't one of them. That's just a normal day in the life of this guy, it seems. But one thing I didn't expect to hear was that Faith has taken him back.
Have you two spoken since then?
Every single day.
You and Faith are back together. You're engaged now.
Correct.
Not just back together, but they're back engaged. Like, is this a joke? Well, before we dive into this craziness, let's rewind to the start. So, the last we saw Loren, he was flying back to the States with no fiancé and no Filipino visa. But if there's one thing that we've learnt about this guy during the course of the season, it's that he's actually resourceful.
Being in America definitely makes me miss the Philippines, but I'm stuck here for right now. I feel like I'm misunderstood. I mean, I might have unconventional views compared to some of the other people that are here today.
I'm stuck here for right now, he says, meaning he's got something up his sleeve, but we'll get to that in a second. So, as misunderstood Loren, yeah right, makes his way to the studio, the first cast member that he meets is Brian, and within seconds, talk turns to gonorrhea and the person he contracted the disease from.
No, the girl who actually gave me the disease, she hit me up last night, and she's like, we're going to the movies in 2 months when I get back from Turkey, right? And I'm like, if she's paying for it, we'll go hang out, but that's about it.
Wow. Sorry, but there's no one that can convince me Loren doesn't know exactly what he's doing and saying here. There's no reason for him to bring this up, especially not so soon, but he's looking for a reaction. He's looking for attention. Now, keep in mind the fact that he's willing to go to the movies with this person again, because it becomes significant later on. But what's also significant is that this conversation between Brian and Loren features two people that the rest of the cast don't exactly have much time or respect for.
I would never take advice from like Loren or Brian or any of them. Like, I don't consider them to, I don't know, be like someone that should be giving advice at all.
Now, backstage, as everyone trickles in, it starts off quite civil, but we know that's gonna change. And when they make it onto the main stage, Sean begins by asking Faith and Loren whether or not they're still in touch. Have you communicated much since the show ended, she asks. To which an excited Loren reveals that not only have they been communicating basically non-stop, but that also, tragically, Faith has agreed to take him back.
Have you two spoken since then?
Every single day.
You and Faith are back together. You're engaged now.
Correct.
It's so disappointing to learn, isn't it? I was so proud of Faith for finally standing up for herself. For finally seeing Loren for the man that he is, the creep that he is. But it turns out it didn't last. She's taken him back. Now, remember how I said Loren always has something up his sleeve? Well, this is it, right? This is what I meant. For as long as he has Faith wrapped around his little finger, his dream to live in the Philippines isn't completely dead. But, interestingly, while Loren seems convinced that they're engaged again, Faith isn't quite so sure.
Do you consider yourself engaged again to Loren?
No.
Okay, we're gonna get into that.
So, are they engaged or are they not? Like, how can two people who claim to talk all the time be on completely different pages about something that should be very straightforward? Well, one of the reasons for the confusion is that Faith doesn't have a ring on her finger. Loren claims he sent one in the mail, but it got stolen, if you believe that. Like, who's gonna steal his $5 ring? Come on. Now, judging by Loren's reaction to what Faith said, judging by his sad face, I think he's taken aback at the fact he doesn't have Faith wrapped around his little finger like he thought he had. So the $1 million question is, why did Faith take him back? Well, unfortunately, it becomes very apparent that she did so because she doesn't believe she can ever do any better. She thinks Loren is the best she'll ever get.
I just want to be true love and to be loved, but I think it's very hard to fight, to accept for who I am. Because, I'm a lady boy and no one's loved me.
Her lack of self-belief and self-confidence is so sad. She's taken Loren back out of desperation. Like, just look at her. She's hardly painting the picture of a happy person in a loving relationship, is she? Now, this development, the fact that they're back together, has the rest of the cast concerned. Vanya begins to attack Loren for not taking it seriously, and Joe points out something else that's bugged us all season.
So it's the way you smile as you say things.
It's a defensive mechanism, so it's more of like a nervous thing.
But seeing her cry and get emotional and seeing you smile.
She's upset and I'm smiling because I don't like it.
That creepy ass smile has haunted us the entire season. For every fucked up thing that Loren has said or done, that smile has been plastered over his face. Now, he might try and now claim that it's a defense mechanism, but how convenient. No one's buying it. Everyone's convinced that he derives some kind of sick, perverse pleasure from inflicting pain on Faith. And in fact, it goes one step further. You see, when Sean asks the cast to vote on whether or not Faith should leave Loren, it's entirely one-sided. Everyone, except strangely Adnan and Tiger Lily, vote yes. So why doesn't she? Is she really that scared of being alone?
I'm not scared to be alone because I'm alone for how many times and how many years.
Okay.
I just want to be happy everywhere.
Faith says that she just wants to be happy, but look at her, she doesn't exactly look happy, does she? Now, the most annoying thing about this, right, is that Faith knows who Loren is. When they split up, she literally checked off every single aspect of this guy's character. Like, it's not like she doesn't know it. She knows he's using her, she knows he's a creep. She knows he can't be trusted. So it's at this point that Sean brings the topic of conversation back to that night. What was the deal with that, she asks. What were you actually doing with that knife, Loren? Now, Loren immediately tries to defend himself. He says that he was just fidgeting, but a lot of people don't believe him, and Niles in particular has his own theory.
I was tapping on my leg for a minute. I was tapping on the
Loren,
table.
I think you know exactly how that looks. I think you do just to make people mad, and that's a form of power.
Look, regardless of whether or not you agree that Loren was threatening with that knife, right, Niles has hit the nail on the head. Loren loves to stir trouble, he loves to create drama, and we know why. He's literally told us why. He's told us his intention is to be as shocking as possible so that he gets as much screen time as possible. He's literally said his aim is to be as famous as Big Ed. I mean, talk about setting your goals, as if Ed is someone to look up to or something. And yet, despite it all, right, one thing that he does stand by is that he's adamant, absolutely adamant, that Faith knew that he was having sex with other people.
I have a chat log, and it definitely says that I have physical sex with both my and my.
What?
Yes, I've had sex with people.
Say what you want about me, says Loren, but one thing you can't say is I'm a cheat. I've got the receipts to prove it. I told Faith all along that I was sleeping with other people, he claims. Now, when Sean turns to Faith and she asks her, is that true? Did Loren really tell you that? Do you have those messages to hand? Interestingly, or should I say bizarrely, Faith can't recall.
I don't know if I can remember that one because
Seems like you would have remembered that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of traumatic.
I don't know. There's something very, very strange about that response, isn't there? That's not exactly the kind of thing that you forget. If those messages had been sent, you've got to imagine, surely she'd remember them, wouldn't she? Now, the reason she gives as to why she doesn't remember, why she's not sure, is she says she deletes their chat log very regularly. But again, something's not quite adding up here. Whether you delete your chat logs or not, that sort of message surely would have been upsetting enough to be memorable at the very least. Now, wherever the truth lies, whether or not the messages were sent, right, is beside the point. The real issue, what we need to get to the bottom of, is why was Loren sleeping around in the first place? He claimed he was in love. He was meant to be in a committed relationship, wasn't he?
You said to her you love her. So
Yes.
how you can love someone and still your friends?
Well, yeah, I did make mistakes.
Mistakes is the understatement of the century. No one seems to really know what to do with Loren. His actions and his words make him almost impossible to understand. So with that in mind, they bring out the only person on this planet that might actually get him. His friend and ex, Esther. Can you please try to explain to us what the heck goes on in this guy's mind, they ask.
He kind of just like, okay, I'm sleeping at this person's house. I mean, I should have butt in and been like, I don't think she understands that.
Doesn't it say everything you need to know that even Esther, even Loren's closest friend in the world, someone she had a relationship with, someone she lived with, someone she continues to hold dear in her life, can't support him for the way that he's treated Faith? In fact, she even goes one step further. Not only does she not support Loren, she herself feels the need to personally apologise to Faith.
I'm really sorry that I did not tell him to elaborate. He said, she speaks English, she understands. I was like, I don't think so.
He's a grown-ass man.
Now, for as nice as an apology is, and we all know Loren hasn't exactly been forthcoming with them, the fact of the matter is, this isn't Esther's job. It's not her job to apologise or to double-check text messages. As Niles, a very agitated Niles points out, he's a grown-ass man. He shouldn't need other people in his life to try and tell him to act like an honest, decent human being. But it becomes harder and harder to believe he's an honest human being when the topic of his flights to the Philippines gets brought up.
When you went to the Philippines, you had a one-way ticket.
Yes.
Did you buy the ticket specifically to see Faith?
No, it was part of a pyramid scheme.
What?
What? So he didn't even buy the tickets to go to the Philippines for Faith? Now, it's quickly established that Loren has absolutely no idea what a pyramid scheme is, because the way he describes it, his flights weren't a pyramid scheme, but rather a scam, a marriage scam. Get this, right? Those tickets were purchased with the intention of flying to the Philippines to marry someone else. Someone who, as it turns out, didn't even exist.
She lied and kind of just pretty much took all his money.
This is a marriage scam.
She wasn't actually trans, she was just faking it.
Yeah.
Whether or not she was trans is pretty low down on my list of questions right now, but thank you for your input anyway, Loren. So, from what I can decipher from this confusing jumble of information, the facts are someone led him to believe that they were everything he was looking for and willing to marry him, so he bought himself a ticket to the Philippines, and when he found out that wasn't real, he restarted his search and found Faith, and used those original tickets to go and meet her instead. Faith wasn't his first choice. Faith wasn't the person that he originally thought he was going to marry. He only found Faith because his first choice disappeared with his money, apparently. So you've got to wonder, how does learning this make Faith feel?
Is it that you really loved Faith for Faith, or is it that she checked off trans Filipino?
Well, I love Faith for Faith.
And anybody who fit that would qualify.
Yeah, that is the vibe that we've got from Loren since the very beginning. He's always had the kind of attitude that if it doesn't work with Faith, then oh well, I'll just move on to my next Filipino ladyboy victim. Like, whatever way you look at this, it really doesn't look good. This wasn't love. This was convenience. Loren had tickets and Faith just so happened to slot in neatly into his plans. How romantic, right? But it gets worse, because Loren proves just how unspecial Faith is to him when he admits he didn't lose any sleep over his breakup with Faith at all. He was back to his old ways within hours.
During the 1 week we were apart, I did have sex. With the girl who gave me gonorrhea.
You went back to the girl that gave you gonorrhea?
Not just anyone, no. It's the girl who gave him gonorrhea. The girl who, as I'm sure you remember, he told Brian backstage he's still to this day actively going to the movies with. Yeah, again, what a classy guy. Now, throughout this entire segment, Faith has been remarkably quiet. So what's she thinking? Is she even thinking?
I don't want to think about it because I really think about the positive thing by Loren because he's so good.
Faith refuses to think about anything negative to do with Loren, and it's crazy. It feels like she's doing this as a means of survival. If I just bury my head in the sand, if I choose not to think about what a horrible man he is, then maybe we can live happily ever after. I mean, it's a bizarre, very, very strange way to approach a relationship. But the sad reality is, she's willingly putting up with this.
It's very complicated because I see the good things of him and I see a lot more bad things to him. It's hard to give up your first love.
Look, it's impossible for us to empathise with Faith because it's impossible for us to imagine being in love with Loren. But what she says is kind of true to an extent. First loves and first breakups are quite difficult to navigate. It's uncharted territory, right? But that's not a reason to stay in a crap relationship, is it? And oh my gosh, when they begin to show never before seen footage that discusses what Loren likes to do in the bedroom, it becomes even more clear that Faith needs to cut and run.
I drink pee, right?
What?
You want to do pee? Me. Like sex.
Can you spell it?
What? Spell it.
Far be it for me to yuck anyone's yum, but could Loren get any grosser? He's just so nasty. He's such a grimy, grubby little man, isn't he? But while everyone on that stage is concerned about Faith, guess who begins to pipe up, questioning her intentions? Brian. You see, Brian begins questioning why Faith is still with Loren. Is it all for her financial gain, he asks.
Loren, how much money have you sent Faith?
I think like $8,000 to $10,000.
Yeesh.
But the money he sent to me is still here in the bank.
$8,000 to $10,000? What am I missing here? Is this not the same guy that was jobless and homeless? The guy that couldn't afford to pay his rent when we met him? Clearly things have got better, right? Well, maybe not. You see, not only does Faith dispute this amount, Loren, in a bid to try and make himself look like a hero, then goes on to say this.
I eat out of the garbage, so I continue to send money. I just quit eating for a long time.
Oh, here we go, shock, Jack.
Oh my God. He do that for you?
Wow, Loren, you're such a good guy. Look at him, what a noble man, eating out of the trash, sacrificing himself for the benefit of Faith and her family. Oh, come on, give me a break. Does he really think we're buying this crap? Even Brian, Loren's only supporter, just rolls his eyes at that one. He calls Loren a shock jock. And again, he's right. This is just Loren trying to say the most shocking thing possible to try and get more airtime. But while Brian correctly diagnoses what's happening, it doesn't stop him from continuing to question whether Faith is just in this for money.
I'm not calling it a scam even. It's just one person that is putting up with his bull because she's benefiting from the care packages.
Isn't that every kind of relationship?
If the money that Loren has sent, whatever amount that is just sitting in Faith's bank account unused, then the point that Brian's making isn't really a valid one. But I will give Loren this. He does appear to have sent her something, right? And given that he knows Faith isn't his easy meal ticket, given that he knows using Faith to get a Filipino visa is going to be very, very, very difficult, not impossible, but very difficult, then it is nice of him to be sending her money, any money. But it does raise the question, why is he financially helping her? What's he getting out of this deal?
She did say that her family will need a house at some point. Therefore, I will continue to send money. If she chooses to use it for that, then she chooses to.
Does she send you pee in return?
Yeah, whether it's for a sexual fetish or not, whether or not there's payment in kind, I think we can all confidently claim that any notion he's doing this because he loves Faith is pure bullshit. I think a more realistic possibility is that Loren's still holding on to the hope if he sends enough money and builds them a house, maybe Faith's mum will feel obliged to marry him. Maybe that's his angle. Either way, with the tell-all, or at least part one of the tell-all now ending, I really hope that next episode they grill him a bit more. He's got off way too lightly so far.